to another episode of the Caribbean Edge Kids. Wow, it's story time. And today we have Aunty Brittany and Aunty Sophie joining us. So we're going to get into some brief introductions, but I want to talk about the tradition of storytelling. So storytelling in Jamaica is a long one, beginning with folk tales told by the slaves during the colonial period. Jamaican folk stories are most closely associated with those from the Ashanti tribe in West Africa, from which many of the slaves originated. So welcome to Story Time. So glad to have you for the first time, Aunty Brittany.
Hi, so happy to be here. I'm so excited.
I know. So Aunty Brittany is the daughter of Aunty Sophie that everyone loves and is familiar with. So tell us about yourself and what you do, Brittany.
Well, I am a performer in Orlando. I follow in my mom's footsteps and fell in love with the stage. Currently, it's a world where I actually do storytelling. I work with a very friendly friend, Big Bird, and we tell stories to the kids there on Sesame Street. So performing and reading stories is something my mom has done with me as a child and that I love, and now I get to do for her.
I think we're losing Brittany there. Is it just me?
You guys can hear me clearly?
No. I hear you. It was breaking up a little bit earlier.
Oh, okay.
So thanks for joining us for Story Time, and we're going to kick it off. What book are you reading for us today?
Well, to start off, I thought it would be really nice to read a book about somebody who lives in an island. So I live in Orlando. That's no Orlando. That's where Disney World is. Who's at Disney World? Mickey Mouse. So I thought it would be nice to read a book about Mickey Mouse and all of his friends. All right, so this is called Mickey Mouse, Mickey and Friends. Here is Mickey Mouse. We love Mickey Mouse. Over at Disney World, we call him the boss of the theme park. He's in charge. Here is Mickey Mouse. That is his girlfriend, Mickey Mouse. I absolutely love her polka dots, which is why I decided to put some on myself. Here is Donald Duck. Now, Donald Duck is a froggy duck. He waddles around like this. And here is Pluto. That's Mickey's dog. I don't know if you guys have dogs out there, but Mickey takes care of Pluto, and I hope you guys are taking care of your pets too. Here they are. See, they're together. You guys play with your dogs like this? You play fetch, you go for walks, right? And here they are. See, Minnie and Donald are friends too. There they are playing together. Here is a little green house. It is Mickey's house. See, this is where Mickey Mouse lives. And here is a little red house. It's Minnie's house. See, his is green and hers is red. Here is a little yellow house. This is Donald's house. And here is a little blue house. This is Pluto's house. Now, do you guys see your favorite color in the book? See, I don't. Mine is purple. Kind of want a purple house. Wouldn't that be fun? Mickey Mouse came out of the little house. He came out and walked down the road. I wonder what Mickey's going to do when he leaves the house. Let's see. He walked to Minnie's house. Minnie Mouse came out of her little red house. See, Mickey went to go visit his girlfriend Minnie. Isn't that sweet? Mickey and Minnie walked down the road. They came to Donald's house. Donald Duck came out of his little yellow house. They're all hanging out together. Now, Donald and Minnie and Mickey walked down the road. They came to Pluto's house. Minnie Mouse said, "Here we are, Pluto. Will you come and walk? Look at that. We're all going to go for a walk together." I don't know if Pluto's really up for it. He seems a little sleepy. Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, and Pluto walked down the road all together. The end.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sure. What age group is that book for?
I would say that book is really good for anyone from pre-K to about 5, especially if they really love Disney characters as much as I do. It's a little bit
So tell us, how did you get into storytelling?
like I said, from my mom, she was always really good about not just reading the words on the book, but making the words come alive by animating with her face and her body, and really making me feel like I was a part of the story too. So it made us really excited to want to sit together and read. It was something she did not just with me and my brother, but with my cousins or any little kids that were in the house. So it was not just like reading as, reading as an activity. It was more of an experience and a family bonding thing.
Oh, and now you get to do it for other little girls and boys around the world. Oh,
Yeah.
and I know you picked another book for us. What's the second book you're reading today?
So my second book is called I Love You Every Little Bit. What I love about this book is we get to see a lot of animals with their moms and dads, and it kind of reminds me of me and my mom. As you guys can see, these little owls, they look alike, and a lot of people tell me and my mom that we look exactly the same. I love your tiny wiggly toes. Now, if any kids are reading along with us, I want you to try and point to the thing that I'm talking about. So I said your toes. Can you show me where your toes are? Point to your toes. I know you got it. I love your soft, squishy nose. Here's my nose. Where's your nose? I love your little dimpled chin. A little chin. I love your silly, happy grin. Show me your biggest, happiest smile, like you just got candy. I love your itty bitty feet. I love your cheeks, so round and sweet. I love your hands. Can you show me both hands? Both hands. And do you know how many fingers you have on each hand? Can we count them all together? Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good. I love your eyes, so twinkly and bright. Our hearts are such a perfect fit. I love you every little bit. Can everyone show me a big heart? A big heart. Oh, so sweet. Very good, everybody.
Wonderful. That was great.
Brittany, based on your experience as a little girl and now an older young lady, what would you want kids to know about storytelling? What did it mean to you throughout these years?
It was a way to make learning fun, because I know, actually, one of my favorite stories is when I was learning how to read. I would sit down with my mom and dad, and they'd teach me my letters and things, and I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what it was, but I saw one of my friends reading, and she looked like she was having fun. Now I want to learn how to read. So I came home.
Oh, we're breaking up.
Yeah.
I went mute somehow. But yeah, I was like, I need to learn how to read too. So then we made it something that we did all together, so that it's a nice skill that I can take with me into the future, but also, like I said, something so much fun that we could do together. So it's just something to make learning fun, which learning should be. It should be a lot of fun.
That's right.
Thank you. And you do it exceptionally well. I know all little boys and girls are watching you and want to be just like you and want to read stories just like you, because it makes it more fun. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Brittany.
You really look just like your mom. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
And Auntie Sophie, what story do you have for us today?
Well, Brittany is correct. I did read a lot of stories for my kids, and everybody knows I'm from Jamaica. You wouldn't tell by just listening to my daughter because it's a whole different accent, right? But I am from Jamaica, and I'm wearing my national costume. And of course, I pride Jamaica so much. I pride everything about my culture, and I try to infuse that here as I was, growing up my kids. So anyway, the story I'm going to read is an Anansi story, and everybody knows that is one of those folklore creatures. So Anansi stories are originated in West Africa, as Auntie Dawn mentioned earlier. They were brought to Jamaica and other parts of the New World by Ashanti slaves. You're correct. And they were handed down orally through generations after generations. And I remembered my mother reading me stories and telling me stories too. So Anansi, for those who don't know, exists as a spider, a man, or a combination of the two. Now, his name is sometimes spelled really differently, but the bottom of the day is Anansi. Everybody knows whether you want to put a CY at the end or an SI, doesn't matter. It's Anansi, and his stories are called Anansi stories. Now, Anansi is no goody two shoes. Nope, he's not. He is a greedy, lazy, inventive trickster, very cunning and smart in the extreme. Anansi loves a joke, and when he's not sleeping, he also loves his tummy. He's always eating. When he's not sleeping, he's always up to something. So today, let's learn what happened when Anansi tricked Mongoose and Snake. Now, just like my daughter read stories about Mickey Mouse and his friends, Anansi had friends in the forest too, but he was always playing tricks on them. So let's see. It was just after the turning of the age. It means a long, long time ago. And Anansi used to live in a tamarind tree. Up the hill lived that sly mongoose. Now, mongoose loved eggs. There wasn't any other creature in the forest that loved eggs more than mongoose. And every morning, right after cock crowed, mongoose would sneak into farmer's yard and make off with all of farmer's eggs. Well, one morning, Anansi the Spider-Man was out walking. And as he neared to farmer's fence, he heard dog barking, growling and barking. So Anansi hurried around a bird pepper tree to see what all the commotion was about. And there was Mongoose balancing on top of farmer's fence, and dog was jumping against the fence and trying to shake him down. Mongoose hands were full up with eggs, and every time dog jumped up and barked, the fence shook, and Mongoose came close to falling and breaking all the nice big eggs. Mongoose! Mongoose! I see dog got you good this time. Anansi called out and laughed, but Mongoose was too busy to answer. So the smart boy Anansi saw his opportunity and shouted, "My friend, just drop the eggs and I will catch them safe for you." "Oh yes, and steal them away too," was Mongoose's ungrateful reply. "How is a small creature like me going to carry away so many big eggs?" said Anansi. "But if you want to give me just one of your eggs for my trouble, we could have a deal." Anansi could see Mongoose considering the plan, so he started at once to weave a big net. At the same time that he finished the net, Mongoose called out, "All right then, Spider-Man, a bargain. One of my eggs for your help. Catch!" And he tossed the eggs down one by one. And while dog continued to bark and growl and shake the fence, Anansi caught the eggs with his net. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and gently sat them on the ground. As soon as the 6th egg was on the ground, Mongoose jumped off the fence and laughed at dog. "I got away again, you old dog." And with that, Mongoose snatched up all the eggs, ready to run off. "Hey!" said Anansi. "A bargain is a bargain, Mongoose." But that sly Mongoose laughed again. "Spider-Man, I'm not giving you any at all. Spider-Man, and you're too small to take them from me." When Anansi got angry at those words, "Oh yes, Mongoose," he snapped. "The Spider-Man is too small. I bet you come tomorrow when you reach for farmer's eggs. I, smart boy Anansi, will have taken them all already." Mr. Mongoose started to laugh some more. He laughed so much he almost dropped the eggs with his laughter. "Spider-Man, is a challenge you're offering me? Spider-Man, you want to try to test me?" And the mongoose dashed away up the hill with all of the 6 eggs. Well, the Spider-Man didn't decide at that point that there he needed to teach Mongoose a lesson. Immediately he walked to the riverside where he knew Snake was spending the dry season. And when he got to the riverside, he saw Snake sunning himself on a rock. And Nancy called to Snake, "Snake, Snake, you're here still? I thought you were gone." Snake didn't even turn his head. "Go away, little Anansi. I don't have time for you and your games." "Oh no, of course indeed, Mr. Snake," Anansi called back. "It's just, I heard Mongoose talking." "Mongoose?" said Snake, raising his head out of curiosity. "What Mongoose could have to say?" "Well, he was saying how he is the most cunning creature in the forest," Anansi told Snake. Snake sniggered. "He was only trying to frighten you, little man." "Yes, I'm sure you're right," Anansi replied. "But it wasn't just me. He's been telling everybody in the forest. He's been saying how he is the best because he's the only one who could sneak past dog and get farmer's eggs." "Is so?" answered Snake. "And who taught him all he knows, what little he knows?" "You, of course," Anansi called out. "But I heard him say how he is the slickest, the slyest, the sneakiest creature to ever cross the earth in all of history." Well, Snake was starting to get vexed now. He uncurled his long tail and then curled it round himself again. The simpering Snake hissed. "He's only just started. He's only just arrived. Who's ever heard about Mongoose? Who's ever written stories about him? Everybody knows about me, Snake. I have been here since time began. I am the first, the slimiest, the slyest, the lowest, the sneakiest, the slickest, the deceitfulest. And wasn't it me there when the first garden got mashed down? And wasn't it me there turning people to stone upon that lady's head? So who could be afraid of Mongoose but Mongoose?" Smart boy Anansi could see his plan was working, so he threw a bit more fuel on the fire. "And he's telling everybody how you're getting old," Anansi added. "How when you're asleep he sneaks up to you and tickles your nose, and how you're too slow and fat to catch him." Well, Snake was really vexed now. "Saucy scamp, sneak upon me? Nobody sneaks upon Snake. It's Snake who sneaks up on people." "That's what I told him," Anansi agreed. "I said if you wanted eggs, you could go into farmer's yard at any time and take them before dog could find out, no?" "Of course," Snake replied. "Stupid dog is no match for me. I would be in and out before he even sniffed my scales. Well, yes, said Anansi, unless you go after cock crows, because that bald-faced mongoose takes farmers' eggs first thing every morning. If you really wanted to get the nice big eggs, you'd have to go early before cock crows. Then by the time mongoose arrived, the eggs would be long gone, and he would know it's mighty snake who did it. Who else? Yes, yes, Snake hissed. He liked the idea. And imagine, my friend Snake, Anansi added, imagine if, while stupid mongoose is busy wasting his time sneaking past farmer's dog, you were up the hill in his house, clearing out all the other eggs he's hiding. I mean, he would know who is the slyest then, who is the sneakiest, who was the one under the master's heel. Yes, 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 Snake hissed. He loved the idea. So early next morning, before cock could crow, the smart boy Anansi pulled up his decked chair and sat under the tamarind tree. Sure enough, just as the sun started to push the night out of the sky, Snake came sliding by. Morning, morning, Anansi greeted him, but Snake did not answer. He slid around the bird pepper tree, under the wire fence, past the sleeping dog, and into the hen house. One chicken clucked, and Snake was back out of the hen house, past dog, under the wire fence, round the pepper tree, and back to the tamarind tree with a coil full of big brown eggs. Spider-Man, you are the witness, Snake hissed. Who is more sly? Who is more sneaky than I? Not mongoose, Anansi agreed. Snake opened his coil and let the eggs roll onto the grass. What is the sum? Asked Snake. How many eggs you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the eggs in the hen house. And after you get the eggs from mongoose, then the whole forest will know who is the most cunning creature of all, Anansi announced. Snake lifted his head up and declared, that will be easy for me, little man. It's like taking the apple off the tree. And he left the 6 bags under the tamarind tree with Anansi and slithered up the hill to Mongoose's house. In no time at all, cock crowed, and Mongoose came hurrying down the hill, past the bird pepper tree and under the fence. He ran into the hen house, and immediately the chickens started to cluck and squawk. And dog jumped up and ran to the hen house, barking. Well, Mongoose had to dash out of the hen house without a single egg, and dog chased him all the way to the fence, barking like he was crazy. Mongoose got away by the tip of his tail and ran straight to Anansi by the tamarind tree. You bad boy, Anansi, Mongoose shouted. You 8-legged boy, Anansi. You thin-foot, big-belly boy, Anansi. Anansi smiled. What's the matter, Mongoose? He said. You want to borrow an egg this morning? Mongoose could only stare at the nice big eggs in Anansi's sack. Anansi laughed. Sly Mongoose. You can't believe your eyes. Sly Mongoose. I'll give you one if you care to buy. Hush! Mongoose shouted. You lazy boy, Anansi. You never got all those eggs by yourself. You're too small, Spider. You're too weak, man. That may be, laughed Anansi. But who has farmer's eggs today? Mongoose was too vexed to leave it there. He started sniffing, until he caught Snake's trail. And it's like he realized at once where Snake's trail was leading to. So without another word, he left Anansi and hurried back up the hill to his den. As soon as Mongoose was gone, Anansi hid the eggs behind the tamarind tree. Then he pulled out a big crocus bag and slung it over his shoulder and cautiously followed Mongoose up the hill. As he went, he hummed a ditty to himself. Eggs for breakfast today, eggs for dinner tonight, I eating eggs tomorrow, poach, boil, scramble, or fry. No, Mongoose house was built right at the edge of a waterfall, and the noise of the waterfall was so loud that you couldn't hear anything but the noise from the waterfall. So when Anansi reached Mongoose's house, he couldn't hear anything, but he could see Snake sliding around the side of the house. And Mongoose saw him too. Snake stopped, and Mongoose stopped. So Anansi stopped too. He watched Mongoose moving slow towards Snake, and Snake slide sideways. Then bopsy by! Mongoose jumped and grabbed Snake's tail, and as Mongoose bit Snake's tail, Snake whipped around and sank two sharp fangs into Mongoose's nose. And at the two started to wrestle, backward and forward, round and round, rolling over and over. Well, Anansi is not stupid. He saw his chance and he took it. He ran across the muddy yard and into the Mongoose's den. He went straight for the Mongoose's kitchen and he started to fill up his sack. He took 2 fat fowls, a bowl of ripe mangoes, a pot full of fish, and in a basket under some dry fig leaves, 6 brown eggs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then Anansi closed the sack and dragged it to the door. Meanwhile, in the yard, Mongoose and Snake were still fighting round and backward and forward. Anansi pulled the sack all the way out of the yard, and Mongoose and Snake were still fighting. Mongoose holding Snake's tail, Snake biting Mongoose's nose. Anansi managed to drag the heavy sack all the way back to the tamarind tree, and Mongoose and Snake never even knew. That night, as Anansi added the 6 eggs from Mongoose's den to the 6 eggs from Farmer's yard, he sang, eggs for breakfast today, Papa Payo, eggs for dinner tonight, Papa Payo, I eating eggs tomorrow, poach, boil, scramble, or fry. Anansi ate fish with chicken and rice for dinner that night. And every morning for the next 12 days, he ate eggs for breakfast, poached, boiled, scrambled, and fried. And when Anansi saw Mongoose again, he could see the big red bite in his nose from where Snake nearly took it off. And Snake, well, I heard Snake is still by the riverside, nursing his scars from Mongoose's attack on his tail. The end. Jack Mandora, me not choose none. There we have it. And Nancy to the tricks. You see it now?
That was beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. Nancy never to be outsmarted. Right.
That's true.
All right, so there we have it.
So, and I've said this before, just you doing this and telling a story, especially relating back to our Caribbean culture, is so refreshing, so honest, so loving. I mean, I remember Anansi's stories, but not told like this at all. And I sure have a bigger appreciation for it now that I'm older. So this show is just not for kids, but for adults like me that love our culture and can relate to these stories. And we're happy that we get to share our culture with the rest of the world. Brittany, what was that like for you, watching your mom and being live with her?
It definitely brought me back, and it's so nice to be surrounded by my Jamaican heritage again, because it's kind of different being out here on my own. I miss some of those elements that my mom definitely installed in me, because I am Jamaican, even though I'm not born there. It's in my blood, and I take it with me everywhere I go.
Yes.
That's my girl.
So Auntie, any words for the kids and for Auntie Brittany joining you? Must be so nice to have your daughter telling stories with you.
I am very, very proud and happy that what I did over the years with her stuck. So yes, I know she can share the storytelling with her friends and of course in the world of work as she pursues her dream in the performing arts. So I'm very pleased. And of course, it is my joy to share storytelling with the world. And mothers, fathers, find out more about Brother and Nancy and share with your kids. Find out the roots, the heritage, how it all began, because clearly I can't go into all the details in one episode, but you do the research and share with your children. And story time is absolutely amazing. It creates great bond. And I had that with my mother. All the stories she told me, I have it locked here. And of course, it is absolutely a joy and a pleasure. All right.
Good. Generational, right? Your mom.
That's correct.
That's
correct. That's
so
correct.
We want to thank all our viewers that tuned in today. We have quite a few people saying hello. And Barbara, we want to thank Bethlehem Junior Academy, who is a proud sponsor of the Caribbean Edge Kids as her kids prepare to go back to school tomorrow. And so Sandra, thank you for that. She says, hello guys, all the best on this Sunday afternoon. So thank you everyone that's tuned in, that's sharing this episode. And if you haven't seen the Caribbean Edge Kids, check us out on our YouTube channel and also on our Facebook page as we share these episodes. So hopefully everyone is sharing as we continue to share our rich culture. And then next week, hopefully, next week or the week after, we'll have our Patois challenge, which we talked about.
Yes.
Patois you learned over the years.
Ooh, I definitely hear it all the time at home. Now, speaking it is a different thing. I feel like my accent's not quite there, but I'll tell people what's going on whenever I can.
Mom, give her a test to say something in Patois.
I tell you, whenever I'm doing my Miss Lou impersonations or I'm reading, I'd ask Brittany to help me hold the book and tell me where I go wrong. Poor child had to be navigating through the patois. So I remember reading once to her and I'm missing a line. I said, which line I miss? She said, I think you didn't say, she was singing loud and really looking glad. Like Brittany, Miss Luna said that. But she was just kind of reading it out and poor thing. But of course they got it. They got it left, right, and center, especially when I was angry. The Jamaican would come out and I'd slip in a story that I've been telling that for years now. But when Brittany's brother was about 4, I remembered saying to him, sit down, boy, because he was very, rambunctious, jumping and playing. I said, sit down, boy. What sweet nanny go to go run your belly. The child cried out of this world. He had no idea what I was saying. He knew mommy was upset. And all he could tell anybody who asked him, his Auntie Dawn would say to him, what's wrong? He said, mommy said something about a goat. So that's all he could. So Brittany, I'm sure, remembers me sharing that story as she got older. So Brittany, you have any other words you remember that I would share or I would say in the house?
Oh, one that I didn't realize was weird until I got older was pearls and skirts. I'm like, why are you talking about clothing? Like, you're shocked or you're angry. It's so weird when you think about it, but I just got so used to it. I hear it all the time.
Amazing. So we're going to have fun with the kids talking patois. I've mentioned before, I wasn't really allowed. Maybe a couple people weren't allowed. We had to speak the Queen's English growing up. So patois wasn't really allowed in my household. So it's kind of fun now that I get to do it and get to get kids, because I think it is part of our culture. It's so beautiful. Our accent is rich and people love it. It's soothing and loving. And we're in a position to go ahead and share that with the world. So thank you both. I had an awesome time today. I hope all our viewers did. Remember to share this episode, and we'll see you next Sunday on the Caribbean Edge Kids. Have a beautiful week.
Great Patois challenge. What good?
What good.
Bye.